Usually when we talk about trap markets, it's a market segment, a niche or genre that is neither growing or shrinking from an overall revenue perspective. So looking from outside, it might seem like a good idea to enter it because, well, there is money and it's stable. Why not? But often, really often, it means that developers can't buy traffic effectively with positive ROMI or ROMI, which is return on marketing investment. So basically, for each dollar spent on acquisition, they acquire the same dollar from their users. So their business is like stagnating. They don't grow and they don't shrink, which is a bad sign. So this is a trap market.
When building, growing, or creating, I've always been a fan of kind of focusing on my own stuff, my own product or app, rather than looking around at what everybody else might be doing. But sometimes you just have to know exactly what the competition is up to and just how what they're doing might impact your app or your marketing. Welcome to Mobile Heroes Uncensored. My name is John Koetsier. Our co-host, of course, as always, is Peggy and Salz. And recently, we dived deep into ASO, App Store Optimization, Google Play Optimization. Today, we're talking about something maybe related, different. We're talking about mobile market intelligence, seeing what the top apps in a category might be, how your competitors monetize, where they advertise, what ads they're showing, who are the emerging titans in your space, who has the highest LTV, all that stuff, and much, much more. That kind of market intelligence can make the difference between being early on trends, being late, being between success, failure. Peggy, who are we chatting with?
Well, we're going to get that and more, I think, because again, we are in our data science series, right, John? We've been going around the world talking to different companies. And today we have Stan Minasov. He is VP of Product at AppMagic, a mobile market intelligence tool that enables you to do complex market research in seconds. That's what they say on their site. And get this, the URL says it all because it is seriously appmagic.rocks, ROCKS. No pressure here.
That's a big promise right there.
Yeah, it's high. I want to see it. We're going to see it. Maybe we'll see. Stan, our guest, Stan Minasov, has over 10 years of experience in the IT industry and a special love for games and education. He's worked in large corporations, small startups, and he's even developed one of his own. And when he isn't working on ways to help marketers do their research, spot the top charting games and apps, checking those trends, he teaches product management in top tier universities and actively speaks at international conferences. Again, gotta do my research. His colleagues say he has a great attitude, listens intently, and sets goals he achieves, even exceeds. And one goal he had, hey, it's coming true today, Stan. It's your lucky day because you told me in prep, one of your goals is to be on Mobile Heroes Uncensored, which he calls, and I quote, his biggest marketing accomplishment. There you go. So
wow.
You've made it, Stan. You made the grade. You're here. We're excited to have you, and welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you a lot, John and Peggy. Thank you for having me today. And I'm really honored. And while you were saying all that, I'm just literally blushed because of this information. Yeah.
Awesome. We're super pumped to have you. And knowing that you teach product management, I was going to make a joke about project management and product management, basically the same thing. I'm just joking. How to make a product manager really angry in 2 seconds.
Actually, you know what? I had a video like 10 minutes long explaining this exact thing, like the difference between product and project managers. And it was pretty successful because lots of people really don't understand it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I totally get it. I've done both, and it is very different. Thank you for joining us. Let's start here. What's the most insanely impactful insight that someone discovered via your platform?
That's a great question, John. Thank you for that. And I think my answer might surprise you. So usually when we think about actionable insights, we tend to imagine something we have to do, like develop a game in a specific genre, maybe analyze rising competitor, or see a new trend and catch the wave. But sometimes it's even more important to know what not to do. just to save your resources, be it money, developers' time, or maybe overall efforts. So, for example, we helped one of our clients, I won't say the name, but just clients, not to invest their money in ad creatives for their new game that wouldn't work for their genre. And for that, we used our ad intelligence analytics tool. So in the end of the day, it saved lots of resources during their soft launch and hypothesis testing phase, which is quite crucial, actually. And we also help a lot to track down so-called trap markets. And well, right now you might be asking, hey, Stan, what is a trap market?
Yeah.
What are we
Yes,
talking
that's what
about?
I'm asking.
Yeah. Perfect. So this is an in-house term, by the way. Usually when we talk about trap markets, it's a market segment, a niche or genre that is neither growing or shrinking from an overall revenue perspective. So looking from outside, it might seem like a good idea to enter it because, well, there is money and it's stable. Why not? But often, really often, it means that developers can't buy traffic effectively with positive ROMI, or ROMI, which is return on marketing investment. So basically, for each dollar spent on acquisition, they acquire the same dollar from their users. So their business is like stagnating. They don't grow and they don't shrink, which is a bad sign. So this is a trap market. If you want to enter it, you will end up just burning up your money and receiving the same money back. So, yeah.
That's great to know. And Peggy, that's a new one for me. A trap market. I love
that.
the idea. It makes sense, right?
Absolutely. I'm just thinking, though, is he going to tell us as non-clients which ones they are?
Yeah, give us an example of a trap market.
An example. All right. There is one, and there is a good example of a game that just entered this market and the situation when it was possible for the game. So the market itself is a CCG, collectible card games, and is a pretty mature market. So there are lots of competitors out there. They've been there for a lot of time. Say Hearthstone, MTG, and for every newcomer, you can look out there and see that most of the guys that try to compete, they just fade away in a couple of months. They don't stand a chance. But there is, like by a click, there is one big player that entered this market a couple of months ago. It's Marvel Snap. And you can guess the main reason why these guys were successful. Well, they've got a great game, good gameplay, but also they've got a very
Marvel.
yes, exactly. They've got like god powerful IP. And of course, if you've got an IP like that, you can just be a deal breaker and disrupt the market itself. But for the most of developers out there, I don't think that's the situation.
That is a great insight, and that's 100% true, right? With IP like that, you can break into a lot of things. You can't always be successful in everything you try, but you can break into a lot of things. Let's come back to here. When Peggy chatted with you before the show, you said, hey, there's a trend that your tool found first. What trend was that?
Well, actually, I think that we were one of the first to track and discover legendary Gold and Goblins ad creatives. So that is a very specific creatives that helped AppQuantum, the developers team behind Gold and Goblins, to grow the revenue 4 times. I'm not kidding, 4 times in the autumn of 2021. And this creative actually was used from that time for the last year by different companies, by different publishers, and very successfully. One of the last companies that used it was, I think, Happy with their new title, Survivor. The game was launched this summer, this July. And this exact creative worked like charm for them. So we were one of the first to track this trend in the ad marketing field.
Can you explain what that creative is like a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So basically, you have your character and you run mining some type of resources. It can be cutting wood. It can be breaking down rocks.
Totally seen it. Yep.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Scratch over your screen.
Yes.
Yep.
And then they used it in a lot of ads. Actually, sometimes they even used it for fake ads, and I think we will dig deep into it a little bit later. But Survivor is one of the games that the core gameplay, the basic gameplay, doesn't have anything with this ad creative. So the gameplay in the ad creative never appear in the game itself, but it works.
Interesting.
That's actually a no-no, but I won't go there. You're supposed to have creatives that show the gameplay, the real gameplay. So you've told us about the trends that you can discover via your platform. Now I want to understand what exactly you do and how you are different, because it's a crowded market. We've got market intelligence companies out there. We've had them on the show. Tell us a little bit about how you turn data into market intelligence.
Oh, as we see it, how we turn data into magic. So I'd say there are three main things.
Ouch.
I know.
Sorry, it took me a second there.
Here. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Product plug. He does. You're not wearing the T-shirt though. Some people are wearing the T-shirt,
Yep.
right? I mean, like, it's all good.
So I'd say there are actually lots of things we really love about our product and we're proud about, but there are three main that, well, in my humble opinion, are the best. So the first one is categorization system that is done manually. And, well, frankly speaking, it is the best on the market. It's not our words, it's the direct quote of our partners from Google. So we've got over 250,000 apps and games categorized. We do it daily, manually. So we go out there, we have some kind of a benchmark. So all the trashy apps, we just throw them away. And then for all the others, we look at them, we look at the screenshots, we download them, we play them or try them. And then we put a tag or a label that helps us to categorize it. And thanks to that, you can dig really deep into a specific market or specific genre in order to maybe develop a new game and to look for your competitors or maybe discover new feature ideas. So it's a pretty powerful tool. The second one,
that's amazing, actually, and so necessary, because the category an app is in or a game is in sometimes bears almost no relationship to what the game actually is. People are strategically picking their niche, their category to kind of win and separate themselves. And unless you really look at it, really hard to know. I hope you used, Amazon's Mechanical Turk or something like that, where there's 250,000 apps installing and playing. Wow.
Well, yeah, partly, and you're absolutely right here, John. So when you look at the tagging system of App Store or Google Play, sometimes you really wonder, because you can see a game or an app that is tagged like one type of game, and then you try it and you say, hey, wait a minute, it's just an absolute different product. Why is it here? So that's one of the reasons we decided to develop the system of our own. The second big thing about AppMagic is called advanced search, and it's a very powerful, complex, but powerful tool that helps to find apps that fall under many criteria at once. For example, you want to analyze winners or losers in your specific genre with the exact number of downloads or maybe a revenue. You want to see how the overall market segment is doing. Maybe you want to look for the promising competitors that are on the rise, that you want to track in time and maybe know what type of features do you want to take from them, what type of ad creatives do you want to take from them, why they are rising very effectively in your niche. So for all of that, you can use advanced search. So it's a very powerful tool. It takes some time to learn and to master, of course, but in the right hands, it can bring astonishing results. The third, I'd say, is ad intel. And it's really important now, especially when we are talking about marketing, competing. It's the best tool to analyze performing creatives with a unique metric of impressions. So usually when we talk about ad intelligence, we talk about not impressions, but rather the percentage of the exact creative shown in this or that network. But we decided that it's not a very good metric that will help your business. So impressions is a much more understandable one. And you can use it to understand how advertisers distribute efforts in different countries or different ad networks, which is, well, really useful. And yeah, cherry on the top, I'd say we've got a very, very competitive price.
Interesting. Actually, I saw that, and this is totally not an ad for your service, but I saw that and I thought, whoa, I could actually afford that, just me. And I'm like, interesting. Okay. Wow. Huh. I expect a number that it barely fits on a credit card, let's say. And I didn't see that. So that was kind of cool. Stan, you talked about it a little bit already, how people use your tool. You talked about trap markets. You talked about, where people can see that, hey, they're maybe not a good idea to invest there. What other stages do you see developers, marketers using your data to make key decisions about what markets to enter, what games to build? what games to put significant resources behind?
Yeah, good one. Actually, these are very good questions that lots of developers out there ask or should be asking. So the first, and I'd say crucial question is there a market whatsoever? When you're thinking about it, whether there is an opportunity for you or not. So for that, you might be looking, for example, at top grossing apps or top free apps. It's one of the free tools in our instrument, in our tool. And you might be looking just, all right, so this is the category or genre I might want to develop a game in, and how many competitors are there? What's with the revenue? What is the average revenue that going on with each game? Might it will be useful for me to try to enter this market? Is it big enough? Is it growing or shrinking, the trap market we've just discussed? Is there maybe a status quo? So how many competitors are there? How newcomers are doing on this market? Do they fade away, or there is a chance for them to grow and be big enough and bold enough? So in general, I'd say it's the question of the existence of the market itself, then the question of how big is it and how competitive is it, and then afterwards, what does it take to develop a game to be successful in this market? Because there are markets out there that require lots of expertise and lots of resources in order to gain. So you spend a lot and you gain a lot. But if you don't have enough expertise and enough resources, then you will burn all this down and will not get all the prizes. And on the other hand, there are markets out there that will maybe with a little effort, with little teams. For example, once again, Ghosts and Goblins were developed by a team from, as far as I remember, a team of 3 to 5 people. And it was an absolute success. Yeah, surprisingly. There are teams out there with hundreds and thousands of people developing games. And there are guys with a team of 5 people developing a new hit. So in the end of the day, it's just a question of the right genre, right market, and right marketing.
So we know about making that call for the market. We understand a little bit about the commercial potential. I want to get to what developers, companies are really interested in. What about the money in the market? What kind of visibility do you give me into that?
Actually, that's a great question. And I'd say that's the first question anyone should be asking when we are talking about the market. Well, really, we're talking about business. And that is one of the main questions in the business. So usually when we want to go deeper, we might want to use the market segment analysis, and it helps to understand how big is the market right now, who are the top performers from the revenue and downloads perspective, are they far apart from the rest? Because 2 different scenarios. You've got all the competitors being pretty close to each other, or you've got 2 giants having 95% of all the revenue, and then the tail. It's 2 absolutely different markets, though from the overall high level perspective, they might seem pretty much the same. Also, it's very useful to look at the so-called RPD metric, or revenue per downloads metric. So what it calls for, in Infinite, when we were talking about Infinite Timeline, it should reach the LTV, because, well, no one knows LTV except the game developers themselves, but everyone wants to. So when we're using this RPD metric, you can see how the revenue per download grows. And if everything is done correctly, then when growing the user base, you can monetize them better and better, and your RPD metric can reach the LTV. So when you are working with some niche or genre, with some market, you also might want to look at RPD metric in order to understand, all right, so how much money can I acquire from each user? What it takes? What are the competitors that are doing it best? And what are the competitors that were doing it pretty good? And then suddenly something went wrong. What should I be afraid of? And what should I do?
Well, you hit on the reason why I'm a crappy product marketer, product manager. It's because you're talking about money, and I'm not too interested. I'm more interested in the tech. I'm interested in the strategy. I'm interested in the other stuff. Let's talk about ad creatives a little bit. You have an ad intelligence product, and you see some patterns around that. And we even talked about that. Some of the patterns that you talked about, where you have to get all the crops or build your island in the, those sorts of things, right? Build your stockade as the zombies are attacking, all those sorts of things. What patterns are you seeing in ad creative?
Actually, I think there is one pattern that surprises me a lot, and it's not the newest one, but it still works. and we've already mentioned it. It's fake ads.
Mm.
So it really surprises me because it still works in the industry and it works flawlessly in the game dev world, especially with casual and hyper-casual titles. For those who don't know, it's a popular trend when ad creatives show absolutely different gameplay from the game itself.
Mm.
You probably might have seen it. For example, a hero.
Peggy is
I've
just
downloaded
boiling
it.
inside.
I've downloaded it. I've done it. Been there, done it. But they're gone like
Exactly.
that. It's like delete. And I'm thinking, I don't know where they made money on that one, but hey.
But keep going, Stan. We want to hear
Exactly.
what you have to say.
Exactly. What is extremely surprising for me that this trend is evolving. So the fake ads was only the first step. The second step was having the fake screenshots and fake gameplay in the App Store or Google Play. So there might be like 3 realistic screenshots of the game itself and 3 screenshots that are connected to the fake ad. So when you're looking at the game in the store, you can be sure. So what am I looking at? Well, this is some kind of a Frankenstein monster, 2 different games combined. What is even more interesting, for example, there is an example of Mighty Party, an RPG game, and these guys went 1 step ahead. You can try to guess it.
Fake game? Fake ad? Fake App Store listing? Fake game?
Fake game. Yes, exactly. Not just the whole game, but in the onboarding, they've introduced the same mechanics, the same game they've used in their fake ads and their fake screenshots. And like when you're completing the onboarding, this type of gameplay, this type of levels, they never appear in the game afterwards. So it's just like for the first session, you've got these like 4 to 5 levels that are in an absolutely different game style and gameplay, and then they disappear. If you're hooked up, you continue playing, and it's well, from my like moral perspective, it's so devilish, but it seems that's effective at the same time. So it really surprises me.
For anybody who's listening to the podcast, great, we love you, but you need to watch the video because you're missing Peggy's expression during what Stan is saying. It's hilarious because it's not bait and switch, right? It's bait and bait and bait and switch.
Yeah. it's like WTF. Wow. That's what it is. Like what is going on out there? I mean, maybe.
And when you think,
I have to just ask for 1 second, though. I mean, we're talking about it, but now we've got it. We'll be watching for it. Maybe, John, you never fell into that trap, but it just amazes me that you're saying that this is a pattern you're seeing, that it hasn't stopped. Is it growing in momentum or what?
It must work.
It works. It works. And for big games, once again, like for Survivor, we've discussed it, and it uses all the fake creatives out there that were popular in the last like year or year and a half. So they're like, when you look at the top performing ads, like 10 different games in there, and none one of them is the real game that you will play. So their basic call is try to hook you up, to bite you, and then there is a chance that maybe you will stay in the game and will be monetized.
It's taking advantage of our postmodern onslaught of information where nothing is true and everything is possible and anything can happen. And you know what? I went into this game, I thought it was this, but it's this. And I'm kind of liking it. Okay, I'll just stay there. Interesting. Just banking on bullshit and working and making it fit. That's interesting.
Yeah. Personally, I think it can lead to 2 things. First, and it already happened, there will be like totally fake games without any additions based on this type of creatives made by other publishers and other studios, because they see that this type of creatives work. So why not make a game like that? And the other thing is that at some time, I hope, players will get bored. The difference between the things they're seeing and they're playing will be too much. And then what I'm guessing is that either this type of creatives will be banned, though there will be some kind of a moderation system out there that will check it, or the quality of influencers and some bloggers will increase, because you will have to look for someone you trust, not just ad creatives out there.
You know what I think this might be? I think this might be, I've got sunk cost. I built this game. It's not that successful. I noticed that all these ad creatives for these games are really hot right now. They're on trend. I'll use those. And I'll incorporate them, and we'll get people into my old product, my old game, and we'll just see how many stick. Interesting. maybe. Peggy, you're still shaking your head.
I'm still
You're
shaking
not
my
buying
head
it.
because, you know me, John. It's always been engagement and retention from day one. For me, it's, keep people longer. That's the best use of your time, money, and effort. And I'm just trying to figure out the retention curve for this kind of crap, just and
But I
how that
think
and what happens when they show this slide to the investors or powers that be, and it's like, well, we've got all these people and they stay here for like 2 days and then they're fed up with our crap and they leave. I don't know. I just
it's the
trying
same
to
investors as FTX and so many other scams. Is they don't care as long as the money comes. You know, I think Peggy, there's probably more tolerance for nonsense in different age groups. You said it yourself, and I've done it myself.
yeah,
I downloaded an app and I thought it was X, and it turned out to be Y. Instant delete,
yeah,
right?
hell yeah.
Or I downloaded an app and they were misleading about their monetization model. Instant delete. You know what?
Mhm.
Because there's 1,000 fish in the sea. Now there's 1,000,000 fish in the sea, and there's another app I can go to. But I wonder if other people in maybe different demographics
Yeah.
are more tolerant and they go for it. Stan, we have had an amazing conversation. We have to draw it to a close. We can't go on for forever. I'm sorry. I apologize. Let's wrap up, as Peggy said, with a hard truth. What is your least censored opinion about mobile marketing?
Oh gosh. Well, all right. I'd say it's big, it's competitive, and it's pretty damn useful if done right. But it's partly science and partly magic, which makes this especially difficult. So you should be data driven and work with analytical tools, but at the same time, you should have a good industry expertise and intuition, like hunch in some situations. And the combination of those two can bring you success.
Thank you for talking about the magic, because if you only talk about the data, then success is inevitable or failure is inevitable. Look at the data. Everybody has the same data. Can't you make the right decisions and just go for it? And you know what? Flappy Bird comes around and boom, some dude's a millionaire for some crappy, insane game, but it just hit the mobile zeitgeist and took off to the stratosphere. And finally, let's end with your top 3 tips for mobile marketers heading into 2023.
All right. So I say the first one is have your daily routine, check your market segment regular, look out for top gainers, top losers, as well as new competitors. So be on the spot. Secondly, know your competitors, even the unobvious ones, especially the unobvious ones, both from features and ad creatives perspective. And thirdly, don't try to beat the giants, especially if you're trying to enter the market, because usually you try to compete with the big guys, but especially in the beginning, you will be competing with the smaller ones. So think from their perspective. Maybe one day you will be there in the tops and you will be competing with Supercell. But as for now, be humble.
I love it. Be humble, but also be wary, I think is what we're going to say here, Stan, because the fake ads, they're going to stay with me now. Give me a give me something to
I have a surprise for you, Peggy. This is a fake podcast.
It's a fake
video.
We don't even have a real guest.
It's a fake world.
It's a fake world. On that note, before we completely lose it, Stan, thanks so much for being our guest today. And hey, not only did you enlighten us about the world of fake stuff, but it was truly real. You were on the show. That was your goal. You made it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
And it was amazing. I mean, I think we have to have you back. I mean, there's at least 20 questions we didn't ask you. Let's take a little break here and let's come back after, 4 months or something. There's so much more we can learn. Thank you so much, Stan. Have yourself a great day. And thank you, everybody else, for listening. See you soon, wherever you might be. And thank you to all listeners. We really do appreciate you. Hope you're enjoying it. Let us know on social if you are.
And let us know if you want to come and we'll have you on the show. If you're a mobile hero or you know of someone who is, then fill out the interest form over at shorturl.at/JKSKT.
Also, Liftoff has a Slack for mobile heroes and people in the mobile ecosystem. There's a link on the screen, and if you're listening to the podcast, it's at info.liftoff.io/Slack-sign up. It's pretty cool. There's smart people there, and you know what? They probably need you too.
And you have probably been completely blown away by all the insights on this show, and you want your transcript, and you can have it because the transcripts are over at Liftoff's website. Go to liftoff.io, click on Heroes, and then click on Podcast.
I actually personally love transcripts because I read way faster than people talk. So that's a great way to get insights really, really quickly. Until next time, this is John Koetsier. Thank you so much for joining.
And this is Peggy and Salz signing off for Mobile Heroes Uncensored.